Driving dish, George's driving dish.
Welcome back, everyone. And I'm here today on the Driving Dish podcast with our chef, Anthony Zamora for the Utah Jazz, Chef Tone. Welcome to the Driving Dish podcast, my man.
What's up, George? Thanks for having me on. Big fan of the show. Won my shirt today.
Obviously, we know you're a chef, but you're also a registered dietitian. So not only are you cooking us up great food, but the right food for us to fuel us, going forward into these games, into these long stretches. And more importantly, during this time that we've been quarantined, you've been bringing meals to our house where, we can stay in shape and working out and have the right intake and communicate with that to you on a day-to-day basis.
All I can say is I've been provided some great opportunities looking at our head coach and coaching staff to management to our performance staff that, they came to me with this vision of wanting to have the best fueling program in the NBA that's going to be not only great tasting food, but supported by science. And really, I've just kind of been given the keys and been able to take that vision, combine with mine, and perform at a high level just to give you guys the best quality of what's going to make you feel good and perform well and recover faster. So,
and me and you, Chef Tone, people probably don't know, have a great personal relationship. You kind of watch all the things that I intake and what I should be taking in and what I'm allowed to eat and what I can't or what I shouldn't eat or have less of. But the one thing that you separate the difference from is you will tell me, you are allowed to have things that, aren't as good for you, but that means on other days you're not going to be able to have, something that, is just as bad for you. So it kind of weighs each other out. Can you just, touch more into that, with people that, have questions of, can I eat more of this or less of this? Or if I'm going to eat this, then I should drink more water rather than a sugary drink.
Yeah, no, you've got the right idea, George. And it's nice for me to hear you explaining the concepts because that means to me that you're starting to understand. But, with nutrition, it's really not ever going to be black and white, but it's always gray. And so one thing that we can look at, of course, I always tell our guys that I'm not here to be the food police, but if you want help and you want to be better with your nutrition, like I'm here as a resource for you. So thank you, George, for reaching out to me privately, and we're able to get on some more education and some more technique stuff with tailoring to your own personal diet. But yeah, I don't believe there's any bad foods, but there might be bad portion sizes. We're looking at things like if you're gonna have a super high fat breakfast, we wanna balance that out with maybe a lower fat lunch or dinner. So it's all about choosing what you want. Am I gonna get French fries and the bun? Like I'm gonna go for one or the other. But it all depends on the individual and what their goals are. I have some guys that they need extra fries with their bun just to maintain their weight. And other cases, we're gonna go just all veggies and, no carbohydrates at all for that specific meal. But it's all over the board and it varies based on the individual, what their goals are and what they need. So I help to kind of plug in those puzzle pieces and fill it in to make it the best possible thing that you can adhere to, because that's the most important thing. I get asked all the time, hey, Ant, what is the best diet for me? And it's gonna be the one that you can stick to. So, I love, me personally, I love oatmeal and I love pizza. And so keto wouldn't be a good thing for me. But for some people, if they're, not ever gonna wanna have those things, that works for them and that's great. So what can you stick to is the answer that I always give.
Chef Tone, he does fuel the minivan. And, what also, I'm gonna give a little insight on what people don't know. Sometimes, Anthony would give us, snack bags to bring on the road, because that was the toughest thing for me, was snacking on the road and eating the gummy bears that were, in the hotel room. And I just want to, tell a funny story where, you'd give us a piece of paper that would say like, Johnny goes to work and comes home with his paycheck, which is like 5 grams of, stuff that he's going to store in his bank. But when he decides to eat ice cream, they come in and take 3 of those grams. So, and you're basically putting it away where, you can eat something good, but by also eating something bad, that's taking away from the good that you've done, and other different ways to do that. And you kind of put that in like character form, to the simplest form, almost like we're toddlers in a Dr. Seuss book, for us to understand, because, some of the stuff that you do talk about, is tough to understand, on a basic level. So, rather than talking about it in its pure form, you basically just break it down, even smaller, to a place that, all of us can understand. And I know that's greatly appreciated. And I just want to now tap into, how you came about doing this. Like, what really struck your interest in nutrition, in food, in cooking? Because to be honest with you, cooking is not my strong suit. I burn eggs, I burn chicken, but I'm still gonna get up and try to do it because I love to eat.
For myself, I grew up in a household where my mom was cooking constantly all the time. So always was just exposed to meals that had love in it. And I was told when I did my culinary program that, think about when you're cooking, you want to cook like grandma. And maybe grandma's got 9 or 10 recipes, whatever, but they're all solid from the heart with love. So I always kind of have reference back to that, where if I'm making food for somebody, I'm going to cook with love, try to cook a little bit like grandma, and make sure that it's got all that good stuff in it. But so yeah, grew up around food. And then I was working as a busboy at one of my high school jobs. Eventually got to spend some time in some kitchens, and I really enjoyed the fast pace, the work, and it was a nice way to make money and also for me have fun at the same time. So when I got the opportunity in college to volunteer for our football team's sports dietitian, just coming into that environment and seeing the fast-paced environment, just like everybody was maybe like they're tired because they're working 7 days a week, but nobody's openly saying like, hey, I'm tired. It's just like, let's all have great attitudes, and we're all here for a reason, is to win. And I just love that mentality and the hard work and the fast pace. And I knew that, also not to mention being around good food when you're working in a collegiate environment, but I just knew that it was a place that I wanted to be in. I love the style of work and getting to interact, and I always love helping people. So if I can help you to be 1% better through nutrition, then I'm all for that challenge.
You didn't really play sports in high school. You played the drums, right, in the marching band?
The marching band, that's right, yeah.
But yet you still have this attraction to getting involved in sports, and you get to Tennessee, and obviously you're earning your bachelor in Science of Health and Human Services and Nutrition. Now, how did you get with the football team? Is there like a story? Like, did you just, walk into the football coach's office and say, I want to do this? Or how did that come about? I heard there's a funny story about it. Maybe, you can share that with us all. So
when I got to college, the standard, freshman meal plan, the food's not that appealing. I'll say nicely, if you've had some better things. So I stumbled upon the meal plan that was at the athletes dining hall, and it was at that time kind of like the best kept secret on campus, where it was the least expensive, but also it was some of the best food. So
you're just trying to get some good food, man. That's all you're focused on.
I was trying to get some good food, and at the time I was actually not in nutrition. I was in nursing when I first got to campus, but over a course of a couple of years, they eventually made the dining hall athletes only. Thankfully for me, I had with the management and the staff of the dining hall, so they were still letting me kind of come in on the low. But I was getting these looks from some of the athletic department, and you could tell it was, that guy's not on one of our rosters. Like, what's he doing here? They were really, really kind of strict about it. So yeah, I had to ask myself, what can I do to keep getting this good food? So logically for me, it was, I'm gonna see if I can volunteer with the sports dietitian and kind of, make an impact on her staff.
Now, Anthony, can you just touch on, I know you spent some time, with the Rams before you came to us, and while they were, in St. Louis. Talk about your transition, from college, nutrition and athletics into, the professional life, because college, you kind of can have your hands tapped into all the guys and, kind of micromanage them because they're all in one place, where at a professional level, like with me, you have to develop a relationship. Like when we first came in, like, yeah, it was respectful. Chef Tone, what's up? You know, this, that, and the other. But it really like transitioned when, you know, we were spitting rap lyrics back at each other, and you really showed a appreciation for me and me as an athlete, to where you really felt like you could dial in and help me better myself as not only a person, but, you know, with my nutrition and as an athlete. So talk a little bit about your transition and how you kind of have to have great relationships with the people that you're working with.
That was a great example you used there, George, where I know in college, for example, if let's say, you know, you don't have attendance at breakfast or lunch, you know, they can make you come early to the weight room and have to do extra XYZ, whatever. But, you know, in the professional ranks, it's really up to them. And you as the professional, you're allowed to do whatever you want. And that's really where that food police metaphor really comes in, and letting you guys know that, you know, I'm not here to make you do anything or, you know, shame you or tell you things are bad, but I'm here as a resource. And I really believe that building relationships and trust, you know, we're just like animals. You can tell when somebody doesn't have your best interest in mind. But, you know, I like to get there on a personal level, and I find that it's a great opportunity that we can express how we feel and our love through food in that way. And so that's a great way for me to, from day one, just start to earn some respect, earn some trust. And, you know, I'm not going to give anybody some recommendations before we have some sort of grounds of a relationship.
Now we're going to get into a fun segment, right? Who on the Utah Jazz is the healthiest eater?
Who is the healthiest eater on the Utah Jazz?
Should I go with mine first and then you say yours?
Okay.
Okay, I am gonna go with Mike Conley.
It's pretty tight for me, actually. I'm in between Mike and Rudy. I know that Mike is super cognizant of what he's putting in, and he's really dialed in. But at the same level, I think Rudy's about there too, where it's always like, hey, does this have what kind of oil did you use? And you know, those little things. So,
and then I'd say, who's the pickiest eater? But we all know that is, you know, Rudy. So Rudy, shout out to you, man. If you're watching this, you know, when we come back, you know, maybe you're not as picky, but what do you know? Maybe you'll get a flower on yours also.
I'm gonna give picky to Donovan or Michael Conley. And as far as they know what they like and they're kind of locked in with it.
Yeah, if people who don't know, if Donovan could literally have scallops for every meal, I think he would. I've never seen someone eat more scallops than Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is a member of the Drive and Dish podcast. He's come on. He was on episode 2. That was a long time ago. But yeah, that's all he eats is scallops. I've never seen someone eat more scallops. So if you want to get to Donovan Mitchell's heart, send some scallops to his house. I'm sure he'll really be thrilled. But who's the biggest overeater?
Who's the biggest overeater? We know we got that joke, George, about the naan bread, right? Naan for you?
Yeah, naan bread, naan for me.
On Indian night?
Yes.
I think that it's really interesting in this day and age when we're looking at how people eat and consume meals, and it can be really difficult when we have this technology surrounding us. So it's easy for some people to, maybe you're looking at television or your phone, and you kind of just get lost and you forget that you're eating. So I think that for a lot of people, you know, overeating can be an issue, but it's always good to practice that mindfulness and, you know, maybe put the screen down and come back to just, you know, can I smell this food? Can I think about the texture, look at the colors? And I try to make it interesting for you, but, you know, we got to meet halfway, right?
You do, and I do appreciate that. But now I want to tap into what you've been doing and doing with us over this quarantine, with helping us, you know, kind of understand, you know, food and how to cook it, and, you know, how to prepare it, and then, you know, sit down and eat it, like you said, smell it, eat it, you know, and embrace it, enjoy it. You know, with our quarantine cookbook, you know, had come over to my house, you know, gave me food and items and pans and things that I had never heard of before. for me to prepare a breakfast sandwich. But also you went to Royce's house and you guys did salmon tacos. You went to Coach's house to give something to him to prepare. So, we can kind of cook these things on our own and put ourselves in your shoes and see how it's done on a day-to-day basis. And just tell us a little bit about this cookbook and what it's going to be and how people should be excited about it. Because I'm excited about it because, now forever, I know how to cook me a nice breakfast, Sammy. Now I need to learn how to cook lunch and dinner.
Oh, the quarantine cookbook is something really special. And all, thanks to Coach Quinn for getting this thing rolling. It was his idea to start with. And then just us going back and forth, it's kind of morphed into this virtual, cooking show pretty much. But it's been really special for me with the guys that I've been able to go over and help them out, because while they're learning, we're both in a way learning together. So just going back to that relationship and the development, it's kind of like they're getting a peek into what my day-to-day can be like with making these meals. And I'm going to tell you, so we're using fresh garlic, which is great. But in addition to the fresh garlic, I'm also going to use some powdered, dehydrated. And why is that? Because we're thinking about adding levels and layers of flavor. They're both the same, they're both garlic, but they taste a little bit different. So how can I create more of an interesting bite for you? And it's been a beautiful thing to see all of our guys, and we're even getting some staff members and coaches involved with cooking. And it's been, I think, a theme of at home during this quarantine. A lot of people are cooking at home a lot more. So it's really an honor for me to be able to help guys learn how to cook some of the recipes that they love. And it's going to be amazing to see it come out as the Jazz start to roll out this cookbook over the next few weeks.
Yeah, we got Tony Bradley out here, chefing it up. And then we have Joe Ingles, who I thought I'd never see outside of a Jazz uniform and Jazz sweats, wearing a chef outfit and actually being serviceable somewhere other than the basketball court. Great dad, great husband, but I never thought I'd see him, cook or be in the kitchen. So it is very impressive. I'm excited, to see this cookbook. So when it drops, everybody go check out our quarantine cookbook. It's right up there with the British cooking show. I turned on the TV the other day and
it comes on right before Top Chef.
Exactly. So we're going to be tuned in. We're locked in. You thought we were sitting on our butts during quarantine. We're working out. We're not shooting hoops, but we're cooking. We're cooking.
I had a mentor of mine, Georgie, I want to touch real quick. And she told me that when you're done playing your sport, you might never have to pick up a ball again or a weight again, but you got to eat every single day. So if I can help, especially, during this time, give you some more of those life skills that you can carry with you after sport, it's just, it's a win for everybody, I think.
Can you just touch base on, what it's like to be a part of the Jazz organization? Obviously, we know how, crucial your role is with us, whether it's providing us pre-game meals, post-game meals. Just give me two things. Tell me what you love about being a part of the Jazz organization, and tell me what motivates you to come and be the best you every day, because many people may not know this, but we really need you to be successful with fueling our bodies and taking care of our bodies going forward.
The whole program, I'm really thinking about how can I help you to enhance yourself through, we're having our assessment, we're having our education sessions, we're having our implementation, whether we're implementing a meal plan, and then we're making it appealing with kind of the fine dining, but also with the science of the sports nutrition. And then as we continue to build, which I'm thankful for the Jazz organization being so, like I mentioned earlier, being so open to my vision and being so supportive of having this great fueling program for the athletes. We'll get into more of that molecular gastronomy. I know you like that word. So
yeah, I went to a state school, bro. I didn't. That word is too big for me.
Get your thesaurus. Really, man, just it's a blessing to be able to work with a Jazz organization. Great family atmosphere, and down to the relationships, you can tell that, not just me, but it's everybody out there. If we're talking management, we're talking coaching staff, performance staff, everybody cares about your best interests, and, they love everybody. So it's really, really special to be a part of it. I'm able to really be in with the performance staff group. I feel very, very engaged with them. So we're working on multiple levels, and just everybody's got that, how can we be excellent today and how can we improve today? So just being around that driven environment, it's addictive, man.
It's great when we can all come together as one and there's a great synergy. And let me tell the folks this, if you ask anybody in the Jazz organization who is the most important part of our organization and keeps it running, like Anthony said, you eat for the rest of your life, everyone will say that Anthony Zamora, aka Chef Tone, aka Chef AC, is the most important person in the Jazz organization.
And that means a lot, George. You guys flatter me, but like I said earlier, I wouldn't be here without my staff. So shout out to the staff, and shout out to everybody else for allowing us to do what we do at that high level. It's great to have the support. Really, it is.
There you have it, folks. I will see you guys next week. Chef Tone, Chef AZ, thank you for coming in and joining me on the Driving Dish podcast.
Thanks for having me, George. We'll talk soon.